precious metals are real assets are gonna be what stands up in the test of time. And if all this money printing turns out to be inflationary, well, we're certainly in the right place. And if it's not inflationary, it doesn't really matter because we're still in the right place. The metals pricing is quite favorable right now, I believe, for the producers.
Welcome to another episode of Inside the Markets Extra, presented as always by StockPulse.com. We are more than honored today to be sitting down with Chris Verrico of Rio Silver. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today.
Thanks, Justin. Thank you for having me today on this lovely snowy day in Vancouver.
It is indeed a lovely snowy day also in Idaho. So as the year comes to a close on that note, can you kind of speak to the silver industry in general in 2021, what the developments have been, what we've seen, as well as the same for the silver mining industry?
Looks like the price of silver's firmed up, I guess, for sure. It's off a little bit right now, but I mean, we have a great base. Market caps for the smaller producers are the mid tiers are coming up nicely. Although the exploration industry is sure lagging behind. I noticed that.
Why do you think the exploration industry is lagging behind? Is there any particular reason? We've heard reports, for instance, and this is perhaps an adjacent topic, that laboratories are a little bit backed up with results. Can you speak to maybe what's going on the exploratory side?
Well, absolutely. Of course, all those supply chains have been hindered, to say the least. I'm sure many people are scrambling to find equipment, materials, like you say, assays. All those components of the exploration business have been under pressure, to say the least. I mean, we've been trying to buy drill steel lately, and we've been, the main supplier for the United States told us 7 months. I mean, I couldn't believe my ears. So it may not be quite that bad from all around, but it's bad, and that's got to be hampering all the news flow in general, I would think. Looking out there from abroad, yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else that you've seen happen in 2021 that you thought that was kind of particularly interesting coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic as well? I think we've seen the world reopen slightly, or depending on where you are based, as well as the price firming up, as you stated, despite the supply chain issues. Can you kind of speak to what you've seen coming out of COVID-19 in 2021?
Well, for us in particular, working in Peru, it's been really difficult. The local communities are still in lockdown. They received very little outside support. They're nervous. They've some places they've barricaded their communities. You can't even get near them to talk to them. That whole part of the process, that whole engagement with the local people, the local communities in Peru is really, really challenged right now. So, I mean, for us with our Niña Bamba, we were sort of right in the middle of our permitting phase. The local community had a change of government. They put in a whole new administration, president at all. That was early this year. But they have really been unavailable and very difficult to get a hold of. We had things going quite well with the previous regime. We bring a lot of benefit to the community, but they are just in lockdown. They're not having in-person meetings. You can't get in to see them. They have other higher priorities than us, and we don't want to be, imposing us on. We want to be, neighborly and not a problem to them. So we're working hand in hand, and we don't foresee a big problem, but it's just really hard to get closure on a lot of these issues with the local community in Peru right now. That must be pretty much all over Peru. It certainly is for us. Yeah.
I mean, any other comments on that? Like, how has that evolved since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic? And do you see like a light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, I guess we're all at the mercy of the wind right now with this new variants are coming in and more lockdowns. That's not that's the new normal, perhaps. We better just get used to it. We're working very hard. And I think, it doesn't really affect our core activities right now. It affects anything to do with community engagement, and those types of activities have been really curtailed. And we don't want to be stepping on people's toes. We want to be doing things. We want to take the high road and do things in a proper way. And it's just been really slow on that front. Our Palta Dorada, though, on the other hand, is coming along quite well. We're progressing a underground access tunnel. It's almost at its target. It's been a long haul this year. It's been slow because of having all the testing, all the things we have to do to keep everybody safe. We've had no issues there with COVID, but we've got a pretty strong regime. Everybody's tested before they go on site. There's no deviations to the rule, none. And all those things take time. But anyways, irregardless, we've met our goals, maybe perhaps a little bit late, but we're almost on target with our access tunnel at Palta Dorada. They're sort of, they're gaining at 3 meters per day these days. They're working, 20 days a month prior. They might work a longer shift this month to try and get pushed through into the sulfide zone that we're targeted to. But anyways, that activity is going along okay. So, and there's lots of production and the production side of things in Peru. It's just things that engage the local communities and people that are being a little bit tenuous at the moment for us, anyways. Yeah.
Tell us about how that's come along nicely. Like, tell us more about what's been going well this year at Rio Silver. It sounds like that there's a lot going on, especially as we come into the end of this year on the positive front. So can you tell us more about what you've seen there?
Yeah, well, we're very close to having a steady state of bulk sampling at Palta Dorada. That's going to deliver significant cash flow. So it's going to be quite beneficial to our go forward plan. And I think the market will like it too. Right now, the markets are at, we're perhaps tax loss selling at the moment. A lot of these forces are all against us right now. The markets are quiet in general. But I think the market does like our story. It does like the fact that we have a two-pronged approach. One was with small mines production, and the other, which may not be so small, and the other our Niña, which is a world-class high sulfidation epithermal mineralized system. There's actually 2 deposits on the project. One's more mid sulfidation. Newmont and others, and Anglo Gold, others have spent upwards of $10 million besides us. We spent $1 million there back in 2012. And the project, but the company's sort of been in care and under care and maintenance at the moment. We managed to hibernate those projects. We bring them forward, incubate those projects. Now we've got the titles cleaned up. We got our holding costs are now been rectified and now manageable. We have no overhanging royalties on our Niña, and it's a world-class target. There's nothing else like it. There's 2 deposits, distinct deposits on that project. They're 6.5 kilometers apart, and they just need to be. We've had leapfrog models done on both of those things. Our environmental work is all done for the Niña side of the project, and we're ready to go. We're just missing this social piece, and we're hopeful we can actually make some progress just prior to Christmas here. We have a series of meetings are booked and engaged in the coming weeks that may in fact help us get over the hump with that. But it's a world-class target. There's very few of those. There's nothing like that available in Peru. They're all held, tightly held. Mostly not many things like that in the hands of juniors, it seems. Some of these projects I'm noticing of late are, I don't want to tout our own horn too much, but Niña is a very, very special project and quite advanced, really, with the work that Newmont and Anglo Gold and ourselves have done in the past. So there's not that many projects like that coming forward in my mind. That's why I'm such a strong believer in what I'm doing, and I'm not going to lose the faith. We're constantly reinvesting and whatever it takes to move the project forward. At some point, we're going to be the stock pick of the week because we're coming out of the doldrums and into a what is a fairly strong project, we believe.
Tell us more about the target itself and also how these types of properties are tightly held in Peru.
There's been plenty of exploration activity in Peru over the years. I mean, all these projects need tons of work, obviously, but there's nothing really sticking out of the ground anymore. All that stuff is taken. It's just you're getting back into that more hidden targets, and they're having to generate targets through geophysics and all sorts of other means, but nothing is actually sticking out of the ground really that is not already spoken for, well spoken for. So that's the good news about Rio Silver. I mean, we own this thing outright. We have no royalties on it. There's been a lot of money spent on the past. We think that's a world-class deal, and we're also anchoring that opportunity with our work at Palta Dorada, which is a really strong a mesothermal vein system. We're the first people to exploit that. It's close to the coast. It's in the northern part of the country. Niña is in the southern part of the country, but it's close to the coast, and it's very it's an easy project to advance, and it is advancing. And we think that's going to be a home run for us to develop our Nina Bomba and to launch ourselves into the small, then soon into the mid-tier producers. That's our goal. That's our aim in life, and we haven't lost track of that vision whatsoever. And fast tracking that process to lack of full feasibility. We think we can push things through with some PEA, some carefully done PEAs and careful and hiring the right people. We believe we can apply. There's a very low cap opportunities in Peru or you can bootstrap them as opposed to having to, do a full-blown $20 million feasibility and all this type of thing, which is very, very expensive and dilutive for your shareholders. We're trying to avoid that and get this thing into production. Yeah.
As we move forward into 2022, like what are you expecting on multiple fronts? So what do you think might happen in silver in general, whether that be price action or the industry, or what have you seen over the last year or 18 months? And do you anticipate that continuing? And then in the silver mining industry in general, like what do you expect of 2022 as we move forward? And then of course at Rio Silver.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously some of these, there's been some, pretty good stock appreciation or 6 months to a year ago. It's quiet of late with these mid and senior producers, most of these mid-tier producers. There's some tremendous value out there. I mean, silver and gold are real. I mean, Bitcoin and all these things, they've all gotten our way. Most of us ardent gold and precious metal explorers are going to not be too favorable towards a Bitcoin intrusion into our space. We believe it got into our space, our speculative space. But precious metals are real assets are gonna be what stands up in the test of time. And if all this money printing turns out to be inflationary, well, we're certainly in the right place. And if it's not inflationary, it doesn't really matter because we're still in the right place. The metals pricing is quite favorable right now, I believe, for the producers. And we're in a nice space anyways, just as a commercial venture, never mind in a strong gold or a silver tailwind market, which could happen as you know, it wouldn't take much for that to happen in this present climate. So we're just biding our time. We're just doing the best thing we can to improve our assets and push our projects forward. We should be at in a steady state of in some sort of cash flow position going forward with Palta Dorada. I know there's no feasibility, so you got to be very careful how you state those things. But it's a strong project and it's going to bear fruit very, very soon. We hope to be shipping ore to the mill early in the new year, and by early next year. So that's going to be a big year for Rio Silver, and that'll we've also sampled some very, very high grades, as you know. Our last news release talked to some 1,090 gram gold. I think it was 643 gram silver. I mean, these are spectacular numbers. It was a nugget effect. It's above the area we're tunneling, we're accessing underneath now. That rock won't get into the bulk sampling circuit. It's going to be probably 6 months for that particular area gets dealt with, but it just shows you the nugget effect and the potential for us to hit our targets in that system. But our basic head grade, we're looking at 10 grams gold, 11 grams gold, 10 ounces of silver, and just 1.78, just under 2% copper. It's kind of the goal. $600 to $800 rock is what we're shooting for. $800 rock prior minus smelting credit, smelting charges. We'll still net our company and our partners Peruvian metal quite a nice little cash flow going forward, and can only be elaborated on. Once we get to the production up and get tonnage and get our tonnages starting to really move. Once our access tunnel gets completely underneath the deposit, we can then start opening up multiple work points, multiple working faces, and all those things will help up the tonnage and create a very significant cash flow for this company. So although it's not supported by feasibility, believe me, it's real and it's there, and we're close to being underneath that deposit.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Chris. We've had the honor today on Inside the Markets Extra presented by StockPulse.com to sit down with Chris Verrico of Rio Silver. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today.
Thanks, Justin. Thank you very much, Justin. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you everyone for listening.